Good morning. My name is, oh, sorry.
Good morning. This is Bryn and I am Mark, and we're here to talk about connection and aligning with your yeses.
Yes. So one of my projects is the Temple of Yes. And the Temple of Yes is more like a philosophy, but it can be expressed in a lot of ways. And the idea behind it is mainly that we are mostly misaligned with our yes. And that's why we're leading ourselves on paths that we don't actually want to go. We're wondering why we're in a place we don't want to be. Like, how did I get here in this job, in this life, in this relationship? Really anywhere in your life. It's like it's just a series of yeses and nos, right? Just little binary moments like ones and twos for the nerds out there. Sorry, zeros and ones, guys. I'm sorry, I just failed you. But yeah, just yeses. So my belief is that yes is in your body and you have to access where it is. And then you can start using that as a navigation tool. Mark here is helping me because I want to talk about how you can connect with a partner. So we are currently in Brookings, Oregon, and it is cold. So we're not actually in a bed, we're just cold and cozy. And our body said, yes, let's have a blanket on. And it is early in the morning, well, for us, and we want to talk about setting your intention with your partner for what kind of day you're going to have. Anything to say on that? Want to just dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's dive right in.
So the first thing we do when we're in bed that's really helpful is it's really tempting to be on your phone. By tempting, I mean I do it all the time. I'm always just like, oh, I'm going to go right into, let's be on my phone. Let's see what I have to deal with for my day. My work is very digital, so I'm always on my phone, but it's very disconnecting. And so one of the things I do as soon as I know he's awake is I put the phone down, I turn to him. And so there's touch. And this is already assuming that you are in a relationship where you like to touch each other. So we will talk about coming back into touch when you haven't been touching or in contact. So I'm wrapped up in their arms and I might place my hand on their chest. He may place his hand around my waist or my shoulders. I might also be gentle about touching his face. But what I really want to do is to align and just breathe. And so if I can kind of lean in, and if you kind of align where your third eye is, your nose, you're going to breathe in, you can really be aware of where they're breathing and how. And so you can start pacing your breath with them. If they know this is something you've done before, they'll do it with you. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. And then this is when maybe you can just have this sweet moment. And really just practice the presence of just being. And with this comes a lot of heart opening. So how did you feel that moment?
It was nice to touch in and just feel that. And I guess in practice, if you're to this point of being comfortable with it and having it not be a new or weird thing, I love doing that non-verbally, where we just share that contact and just sync the breaths just for 2 or 3 breaths. And so it doesn't take very long.
No.
But it allows everything to just settle for just a second. And then we can go about our day.
Yeah. And so for me, we're different types. Kind of. I'm just sort of, I wake up and my brain is going really, really fast. And I'm already scattered to 5 different ways. Like I'm thinking about what projects I need to do, like where I need to be, how much time I have left before I have to get out of bed. And so my brain is already really, really revved up. And one of the great things about this practice is it has nothing to do with your head. You don't have to be like, in fact, it really anchors and brings you down. And I felt like a warm spreading openness in my heart. And it also, it downregulates the nervous system, which means it calms the nervous system if you are feeling anxious about your day. And have you ever spent like a whole night with somebody and you just like, I don't know, maybe insecure? I've spent a night with somebody and I'm really insecure. Like maybe we had like an argument or something, or I wasn't sure how something was completed. And like they in their sleep turn away from me and like they don't reach out for me again or something. My love language is touch. Your love language is touch too.
Yes.
One of them. I'll have more than one. And I wake up and I'm just like, do they still like me? You wake up with like just this sort of subtle, like maybe a little unnecessary anxiety about things. So if you have that and you can just start the day with like whatever is going on, whatever needs to be spoken, let's just have a moment and let's breathe. Yeah. It's a really good way to start your day.
And know that you can do that just by yourself too. Just a moment to just really pay attention to your breath.
Yeah. So speaking on that, what if you are in a space where your cup is not full and you're feeling really scattered? Being close for partners like that may feel it may feel very anxiety inducing because you're just feeling like, I gotta go. You are past the point of your nervous system being calmed. So some people, if you hold me really fast, like they feel like this, they're like, oh my God, I can't get out. This is a trap. How much longer do I need to be here to make my partner happy? And in those moments, whichever partner is feeling that, they need a moment to reset themselves. They need to feel like this is their choice and that they can actually downregulate. So when you come to your partner, this is my second point. The first point was like, put your phone down and breathe together if you can. The second point is you need to fill your cup. If you're coming to your partnership empty, then you got to spend a moment and fill your own cup. So we both were raised with meditation, so we know how to do it. Meditation is a great way to do it, but the principles of what is behind that are fairly simple. Intention plus breathing and posture, I would say. It's like a good just trifecta of like what that is. Intention. So if I'm going to meditate, you want to start with the words. If your partner's not used to this, right? Then what would be a kind way for me to say to you, like, I think I'm doing it now. Hey, I need a moment to really ground myself and center myself. I'm feeling really anxious right now. Can you give me a moment before we reconnect? Does that sound like that? Well, so you've got to find your own words, but that's basically it. It's like you find ways to communicate what your needs are. So for those who aren't used to this is going to be a challenge. And that's actually why you need to do it. Because you want to learn how to make this easy for you, a sense of ease. So I haven't always been somebody who can communicate my needs, and it's because I haven't often checked in with myself. That's where the temple of yes starts. It's actually checking in with yourself. So I'm going to take a moment and check in. No, Mark, why did you have to find this? Okay, so I'm going to take a moment and check in. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to sit up straight. If you lay down, that is sleepitation, right? Unless you have like something going on physically, that is sleepitation, not meditation. So I don't know where the root word for meta is, but not meta, but meditation, MEDI, but I'm guessing it's not sleep. So when I sit up, to the best of my ability, I'm going to sit up straight. My heart's going to be lifted, and I'm going to roll back onto my tailbone, right? So I'm in a seated posture. If you are on the ground, it'll be made easier if you put something underneath your bottom, like a firm pillow, a rolled up blanket, something like that. And why that works is because it's just gently tilts the pelvis into, if this is your hips, like it helps them tilt forward like this. So you want to have them more or less neutral for you to be able to lift up your spine effortlessly. It's about like 12 years.
Yeah. So instead of there, just to
arm is in the way.
you bring your knees forward.
So a lot of people, when they cross their legs are like up like this, and that's because of tight muscles, tight hip flexors. Just basically, it's your lower back, it's your hips. They're really, really tight, and they are pulling up like this. So if you put something under the butt, then it allows your knees to drop and your hips to lift, and then you can actually sit up straight. So that's why that works.
And a chair works as well.
A chair can work too. Mark and I aren't fans of chairs, and if you don't have a chair, then you want to do that. So great, now we're in a proper posture. In this posture, we are lifting our chest, not because of our fabulous breasts, but because these boobs, because of our need to breathe. And we want to make sure that nothing is impinging our breath. So our breath goes all the way down to our belly. Put this down for me. Our breath goes all the way down to our belly. My belly actually goes down here. I just have very high-waisted pants. And we want to be able to breathe. So if I'm slouching, this is pushing on the diaphragm. So you want to lift up. Now this is the same for if you're with a partner. You want to be able to breathe deep. Breath is a huge part of Temple of Yes, meditation, Tantra. It's life, guys. So you are breathing and you are lifting up the heart. You are pressing down through the tailbone. And you also want to adjust the neck too. Just a little, if you can. Think at the top of your head lifting up. Kind of like if you've been a ballerina or something, you lift up. A dancer. Okay, so there's a tendency to hold tension. This is my third point. The second one was fill your cup first, but the third point is actually, I'm going to jump ahead a little to tension. Where the tension is where you get to pay attention. Pay attention to the tension. Because where the tension is where you've got probably an emotion that's unsettled, a feeling of fear, of anxiety, a need that needs to be met. And so you want to pay attention to that tension. So if you can, just consciously say, release, relax, relax the instinctual part of you that's trying to like tighten up your belly. Just go, drop it, drop the shoulders, drop the belly. Now, if this is just too hard because you have trained yourself over chronic habits of tension to tense up, then do the opposite, tense a lot. So you tense intensely, and then you inhale, and you want to kind of like wear out the tension, kind of like just tire out the tension. And then you exhale, relax. And you can do this about 3 to 5 times. This actually energizes the muscles and it breaks up some of the blockages. So inhale, tense the body or wherever the tension is. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time, hold it and really tense high. Sip in more air. Exhale. Now just allow the breath to move freely. If you can, breathe in and out through the nose, not the mouth, but if you need to breathe through the mouth, that's okay. Now here's where we go back to point 2, fill your own cup. So we're going to do a little bit of the breathing that I teach in other Temple of Yes classes. It's very common for us to just start with calming. For me, if I'm feeling really ungrounded, I may want to physically anchor myself with a hand on the heart, hand on the belly. Whatever works for you. If it feels better to do hands at heart, both hands at belly, give yourself a hug. do what feels good for you. You need to start saying yes to the feelings of yes. So inhaling slow. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale. Inhale to the count of 4 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 2, 3, 4. And then exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. And exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a calming breath. There's lots of kinds. You start there. Get used to that process. And then add an element of the imagination, of intention. So as you breathe, I want you to think about kind of a fire low in your belly, low in the reproductive organs. And I want you to think about that nice warm heat starting to spread and grow, like you're fanning the flames with the breath. And as you breathe, I want you to think about it getting a little bit higher, from the base up to the belly. And as you exhale, the fire doesn't extinguish, it stays strong. As you inhale, pull it up and open, little spreads a little bit more to the, above the belly button, maybe where the rib cage is. And get some nice warm color, orange, red. And exhale. But keep the fire high. And then inhale, and you can tense a little of the energy, bring it up if that helps too. And then exhale, relax the tension, but keep the fire. And you start building this fire up, up, up. Imagine it spreading through the body. Now, if red and orange aren't the colors that resonate with you, you can choose blue. If you want more heart stuff, you can choose like pink, something warm, pink, green, healing. And this fire, it's not a real fire, it's your fire, so let it spread. And eventually you're going to get it all the way to the shoulders, and before it goes to the head, I want you to bring it through the limbs. So the fire would spread through the limbs, through the legs. And we're not doing a live class, even though I have Instagram Live here next to me. So I'm not going to lead you through this whole process. So you can come back and you can watch this again and you can use this technique. So it's just spreading the fire. Now, what does that fire mean? What does that fire mean to you? Because it's all symbolic. You can choose whatever you want. But for me, the fire is warmth. It's like an energetic, it's sexual, it's creative, it is life force.
It's awareness of that energy, right? Of building energy inside.
Put this back on, keep my literal fire high. And you can also use it to kind of like heat, melt, burn, anything that you want to let go and release. Maybe it's attention, maybe it's anxiety. So the fire is a great metaphor. Think about phoenixes, rebirth from the fire. What part of you can be reborn? And fire is a very potent cleanser. A lot of rituals involve fire across the entire human existence. Fire is a powerful, powerful thing. So,
symbol of transformation.
Yeah. So you can actually take this as a practice and transform yourself in the mornings. And if you really want to know more and you want guidance on this, you can join a Temple of Yes class and I can guide you through it, because this is just like a baby teaser and it's using things I've taught in previous classes that you can go and look up or just ask me. And yeah, so you want to warm yourself up. And so in this moment, I also want you to see if you can lift your gaze a little higher, even if you're not even actively meditating, just bring the awareness to now. So the importance of being present with your partner is really like at the forefront here, but we have to be present with ourselves. So what was our first point?
Well, connecting with yourself.
Connect with yourself. So yeah, so we have to connect with our Actually, I was breathing with you, but yeah, connect with yourself before you. If you feel like you're connected to this person already, you can breathe with them. But if not, you want to connect with yourself, and then pay attention to the tension. That's your literal and metaphorical tension, and fill your own cup. So we do that. That's how you can connect with the partner. Like, if there wasn't electricity running through something, how would you? It doesn't matter if this thing that's conductive, right? Like metal. It doesn't matter that the metal may be conductive. It matters that there's no energy. Is that a good argument, even though it's a little on the fly?
So like a light bulb example, right? Like it's gonna light up.
Okay, I guess light bulbs
Put
are
the
easier.
electricity through it.
Yeah, sure. But I want to connect with somebody else. So I want the conduits of energy. I want to connect with you.
So let's establish that
So
connection.
So how do I establish that connection, right? So maybe I want to connect, but if I'm not connected with myself or my energy is running low, that's going to be a challenging connection. So connect with yourself. That's really, really important. Okay, so connecting with a partner. All right, I'm going to face you because whoa, it's going to be more comfortable for me. And okay, 37. So sometimes, I think oftentimes we want to jump into touch. I'm really enjoying touch.
No, I do.
Okay, sorry. But sometimes, like, you've had an argument, sometimes something is unsettled. You can read this in different philosophies. Most of them will say if there's something that you haven't talked about, try to just address that. Now, that's a communication skill, and that cannot be taught in a few moments, but it can be taught in the simple way of saying, like, I'm going to check in with myself to see right now if there's anything that really needs to be addressed. So when you say the word yes, like literally wherever you are, you're somewhere alone, okay? When you say the word yes, where do you feel it in your body? And where do you feel tension? So if I say yes, 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 yes. So where is that? So for me, I've been working on it. I'm generally anchoring at my heart now. So it's where I like it to be, because it's a heart-centered decision. Your heart is present. Your heart is in the moment. Your head is usually in the past or calculating the future, but it's not very present. It's working on data that's actually being taken in the moment, but it's always a little behind. And I don't have tension. If you pay attention, if you have tension in your throat when you say yes, now say no. Say no. Feel how strong you are in your nose. That's also the other coin here, right? No, 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 no. I feel it actually kind of in my like belly. This is like my anchor, like I am putting a boundary down. This is my no. And it feels stronger in my mouth. So it feels like something that I feel happier about saying, and it's going to feel different for everybody, but these are little kind of moments. It's going to be a little bit subtle. Where's your no?
No. Abdomen. Okay, yeah.
Interesting. So your no is just important as your yes, because without it, you don't have your yes. You don't have your yes without your no. So with yourself, you can kind of check in. First of all, do I want to touch? Do I want to be in contact with somebody, or am I just feeling like I need space? Right? That's the first question you get to ask yourself. So we both get to ask ourselves that. I want touch.
You want to touch?
Why are you smiling like that? Do you want touch?
I would like touch.
Okay.
Also
And so-
enjoying it. Cool.
Here, I'll do this. So now I'm going to get closer to this person and fall off a little bit. No, here. Yeah. So this is where you get to This is where you get to navigate a little bit more, because I just said I want touch, right? But like he might just start, like making out with me or something, and I'm like, oh, hold on now. Now,
Specify.
if you've ever been in a situation, this is so awkward. I'm just gonna, here, you can just be like, I'm gonna turn just slightly this way. Here, you're falling off this awkward shaped thing. I have been in a situation where my consent was, I guess you could say, violated. But the question is your consent violated when you never said no? And the truth is, this is a really sticky subject, but it feels like it has been violated when you didn't stand up for yourself, when you didn't check in with yourself, because your body is still going to experience violation, even if you said maybe, sure, or nothing at all. Now, if I'm in a situation where somebody just says, oh, can I touch you? And I think they're gonna maybe just like gently touch me, but suddenly they're going for, grabbing my butt, my genitals, or, they start making out with me. That is gonna feel like a violation if that's not what I specifically agreed to, and it's not what I wanted. Here's where we get into Here's where we get into the yeses and the nos, the really essence of the temple of yes. This is your temple. You treat it like a temple with reverence. You get to take your time, and you get to slow down, and you get to take the opportunity to change your mind too, because you are discovering what this temple needs in a moment by moment basis. Now, the yes is located for a lot of us in our hearts, if you allow it to be. And the heart is the now, the head is the then or the next thing. So if someone's asking me if they can do something to me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice, and this is not going to be easy for you who say yes a lot and don't mean it. You're just consistently like, yeah, I guess I'll just go with the flow. I'm easy going. Don't, like, that is a dangerous space to be. Really dangerous space to be. So what you want to do is practice this on your own. Practice people you trust who are going to help you. Like, I can say, hey, I'm having trouble with my yeses right now. I'm having trouble with my boundaries. I'm not really sure what I want. Will you help me and support me by checking in with me and asking me to check in with myself? Mm-hmm. That is a way of asking for support.
Yes, and it's a way of establishing those boundaries for yourself, because you're seeking help in that. Right? You're collaborating to form that safe space.
Yeah. You would be thinking at this point in this video, why the hell haven't they just connected yet? And that's because our current culture is all about like just jumping in. You already know how to do that. What most of you don't know is how to check in rather than jump in. Every day is different. Consent once is not consent given always, even with a long established partner. You may find that there are things that you can read. You can read each other and know, like, okay, she's in the mood or he's in the mood, or they're in the mood to be touched right now. But you can also arguably say you definitely know when your partner doesn't want anything to do with you. But usually it's when they've gotten to the point that they're so irritated that they're just like, ugh. They're like, I'm done, I'm walking away. And that is a nonverbal that says, I don't want to be touched right now, right? That's the attitude and the energy behind it. So, what do you say? And that is not where you want to necessarily let it go. Like, you don't want it to get to the point where this person's just aggravated by you. What if there was a gentle way to communicate a boundary? Now that's where it goes to the know thyself space. Now, I was in a space, like literally a physical room with people, and at that time I said yes to somebody's vague question, right? It was simply, hey, can we join you? And that quickly became something that like really felt violating to me. Like, can we join you became let me grab you, manhandle you, and just happened so quick. And a lot of us might be just not quick enough to like check, like to meet their pacing. So my emphasis on taking your time to make that the practice. If you just take one thing away from this, make that the practice, to take your time and just say, let's slow down. If you lose them as a potential partner, fuck it, who cares? This just became a not PG film, whoops. Anyways, who cares? You've lost nothing.
Right, because if you don't establish that pacing in the beginning, then you're going to be off the whole time, and it's not going to be a deep connection anyways.
What's worse is you're going to go back, and when your brain finally catches up with thinking about what happened, you're going to replay it and replay it, and it's going to hurt. And anybody who has had a consent violation, who has been like touched inappropriately, or had someone take something from you or take advantage of you, even if it's not sexual or romantic, it doesn't feel good. And your mind usually replays it again and again and again, because it's trying to figure out what happened. What happened is you didn't do this one thing, unless it's a violent, obviously like power dominating thing with rape. What happened most times, you didn't do this one thing. And if there are a bunch of people who are willing to be consenting adults in a situation, slow down, take a minute, pause, allow yourself to just sit with yourself and say, like, all right, if you start being non-consensual. Okay, let's take a moment. I need a moment. Thank you. That was too easy. So consenting. Hey, let's slow down, take a moment. So try that again. Try that again. So if you're doing something, just ask me, okay. And so you're in this moment and it's heated, and he grabs you because he's so passionate and he wants you. All right. And I'm like, I don't want to kiss them. I'm having some thoughts and feelings about this moment, and it's moving really fast for me. And you're not gonna think that, you're just gonna feel a tiny little bit of anxiety and panic. That's it. Or you'll go the opposite way and shut down. So it's fight, flight, or freeze, right? Those are the trauma responses: fight, flight, or freeze. You're gonna want to fight it off. Some of us do. You're going to want to run away. That's anxiety or panic. Freeze is shut down. You're going to shut down so that you're not feeling anything in that moment in order to survive it. So those are your surviving and coping mechanisms. How about we live in the moment, we feel, and allow ourselves a safe space to feel? So if he's doing that to me, I might respond with, like, if I shut down, I might look like, no, just continue. I might just kind of shut down.
And this is the point where like I pull back and have a check-in. Like, well,
this is what you can do as a responsible partner. You were being I was asking you to be an
right. No, but it goes both ways, right? There's not one or the other. Yeah, we're all different versions of that. We all have different ways that we might be violating consent without realizing it. So having that awareness, right? It's like, oh yes, she said yes, going for it. And then I noticed that there's a degree of a lack of presence.
Yeah, maybe I said yes because I'm used to saying yes because I like him. I want to keep seeing him, and I'm just like, oh, but he wants sex. I might not want sex right now. So
right, because it might be that like she wants to feel close and connected, but
snuggles and kisses.
Yeah.
Conversation.
Right, but wants to be like held slowly. And so that's a place to check in and see, like, okay, if she's pulling within, she's resistant and these things, it's something to pay attention to. And
so I'm a withdrawer. It's like my coping mechanism is withdraw, shut down. If you know the attachment styles, it's avoidant attachment style. So if that helps for some of you who know that, some of you, my book club knew that. So that's what I had to like pull out of, is just literally shutting down and just letting things happen, which is not it's a confusing place. It's not saying no. It's also definitely not saying yes. It's just kind of like, well, yeah, no, that happened. I mean, I guess that kind of sucks. Like I had to have other people point out that like I've been violated, right? Because I was just like, nah, I didn't say no. So understand that that is part of it. Like just because they don't say no doesn't mean it wasn't consent violation. It's tricky, as I said. So let's just try and avoid that. Let's not avoid. I want to say the word. Let's try and address that. Okay, so what are you gonna do if I'm avoiding? If I'm just shutting down?
Well, then I stop. I back up, and we connect, and wherever we are, right? And so that might be through eye contact, right?
Yeah.
It might be through a handhold. It might be through conversation.
Yeah, so we can address like this. For me, what helps is sometimes like maybe you can try and like get them to their heart. Literally, again, get them to their heart, right? Get them here, and it'll help them also get to their breathing. So, yeah, how does that feel if I do that?
Yeah, it's nice. Sometimes if the touch is too movie too quick, that might feel anxious.
Yeah.
And just be aware of the quality of touch that they're desiring, that they're embracing.
Yeah. Which gets me into the next fun part. May I, will you? So this is something I learned actually from there's different terminologies, so you can Google both. Sex surrogate, surrogate partner. They're used interchangeably, but I believe that surrogate partner is the preferred nomenclature. It's been a while, but there you go. I learned it from them, like about how to deal with things like this. So May I Will You is a game where you get to literally ask, may I will you? And with a partner that you are with, and you're trying to reestablish like healthy consensual touch, and also get to learn like, what do you want? You get to do may I will you. So I'm sitting across from you on this thing, which maybe we should just fold out. So I'm sitting across from you on this thing. And you start off with may I will you. And this is the may I will you. Okay, cool. It's a new place every day, guys. New place every day. What is this thing coming from? Oh, it's there. Cool. All right, so may I will you. Let's practice it. You've already done your breathing. You're already in a state of like I'm kind of like, enjoying myself. Go to the second class I taught, and it tells you how to actually do gentle touch and check-ins, how to realize what kind of soft or firm touches you like. Okay, so do that and then come back here. But may I touch may I stroke my fingers across your arm?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to do that. And I went to the trouble of asking this question, so I'm going to do it really intentionally. And I said fingers, so I'm going to keep with the fingers and say hand. I'm not going to go like, it's very different feeling. So now this may not seem very sexy, but like, what if you could make it sexy?
Well, and here's an opportunity where I can identify. It's like, okay, I feel your fingers on me, but I would rather feel like a slower, palmy touch.
So you could say slower, you could say palm, like you could kind of adjust, right? Now you could say, may I, will you?
Okay.
May I, will you? You have to ask me a question.
May I hold your waist with my hands?
And to me, the first thought that actually goes through my head is just like, that seems kind of awkward. I'm all the way over here. So I could say, no. Will you touch my thighs with your hands. See, now I just renegotiated where his hands go without making me uncomfortable. Because for me, like, this is like kind of, he's now closer to me and I just don't want it. I want to start leaning in and I don't want to. So if he puts him here, to me, that feels better. So that's also something you can do. He says, can I do this? And I say, no, but it's like, you aren't ending the scene here. You can say, will you do this instead? So now
and then that's to my consent.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if that's something that I want to do.
Okay. And then instead of just saying like, may you all the time, like you can ask like, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? What's really powerful is asking for them to do something for you, especially if you're someone who is a people pleaser and it's difficult for you to say, you say yes a lot to other people, you don't mean it. Start saying yes to yourself by asking. Now, don't just be the asker and don't just be the giver the whole time. Switch it up, but ask. So, will you rest your forehead against me and breathe?
Yeah, so.
Okay. So just like we started this whole class off with, we're back here again and you breathe. And I really recommend doing this anytime you can. And again, just as a reminder, you're breathing in together and out together.
And a note on this, and internally, like even though your eyes are closed, just generally inwardly turning the eyes toward that point of contact.
Yeah, or like your
Can
third
help
eye
with
or
that.
something. Yeah.
Connection. And
so I can be there for a while, so we'll move on. It's very soothing and calming. So like it makes me feel like I want to be very close and intimate with him. And it's not coming from my genitals, it's coming from my like core of myself. Now, if the core of yourself wants to be with them, everything else will follow. That's actually the most important thing. So I just asked, and I'm gonna ask again if that's okay. May I wrap my legs around you and sit very close to you?
yes, you may. So here, scoot forward.
Scoot you forward. All right. Okay, so now we're very close. Now for my feet are on camera. As someone who educates people in kink, I'm just like, oh, I should making you pay for this. A lot of people are in the feet. Actually a very common fetish. I am not, but a lot of people are. So in this position, you're very close. If you are not ready to be this close and suddenly you are, and you're like, oh, it's closer than I want, because like you're actually limiting your reach. Now I can't reach his belly. There's parts of him I can't reach. Like I may want to say, may I get off and actually readjust? I'm going to stay here for now. Just this leg.
Right, and that's something where I said yes, but then once we're in it, we're like, actually, I might say, actually, I'm not that comfortable with this, and
it's
you can
really
always
a
step back.
conversation. Yeah, it's really just a conversation, and we will move back in a minute. But see, because now he has to lean like this, and it may not be as comfortable. So, oh, there's a learn. So yeah, so just pressing this. Now, obviously, we're doing it very PG, but what if you went about the rest of this sensually? Like, may I kiss you here? May I lick you here? May I tickle you there? May I take your shirt off? May I? And will you, lick my nipple circularly? Will you nibble my hip, like the side of my hip, or like the inside of my thigh? Will you bite my neck? Things like that are really, it can be a fun game, and it can be very connective, and it can really activate the power of you saying yes and no without there being anything. Oh, I forgot the most important thing. You need to say no sometimes. That's part of this game. And whenever anybody gives you a response, you have to say thank you, and that's it. No why, no explain yourself, no response. So I need you to say no this time, okay? for the purposes of this example.
Okay.
Okay. You're upset with
Ask
this
something.
question.
I want to say that.
May I kiss you?
No.
Thank you. And that's it. That's how that goes. Because every person who says no needs to, in order to feel safe in their yes, needs to feel safe in their no too. So by me saying something like that and him saying no and me saying thank you, he now would well, how do you, let me ask you, how does that feel? I mean, and actually, I know you wanted to kiss me. So
No, but it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter the reason. It just feels good to know that no is being held and honored, and that there's gratitude expressed for holding that boundary. And that feels good.
yeah. So would you feel safe saying no again or continuing playing with me because of my response?
Yes, that does build towards developing that relationship
Yeah.
where I can trust your yeses, I can trust your no's, I can trust that you hold my no's and my yeses.
Sorry, I was holding your nose. Okay, so I'm gonna move this. We're gonna do one more thing. Oh my God, this chair. Okay.
Yes.
So the next thing that's kind of fun is just a game. And honestly, like connecting with your partner has a lot to do with this, a sense of curiosity and play. And this is probably one of the least structured class I've ever taught. That's fine. It's the first time teaching with Mark, and it's really early in the morning. We've been driving for 2 days. So we're just going with the flow. Plus we didn't schedule this. So what's fun for me, you might want to, this may not be your jam, is playing with touch. So another way to do nonverbal consent is actually, and yes, hopefully you're paying attention now. The way to connect with your partner is to be on the same freaking page and be consensual. That's part of it. The other part is energy work. So we're getting there. We're moving through it. Is just kind of like pressure and touch. So nonverbal. So what I'm doing right now is I'm touching hands. And Mark, can you tell me what's going on?
Well, this may not seem like a consent conversation, but this is developing nonverbal communication, right? And it's doing that by developing awareness. Like suddenly, I'm much more aware of how Bryn is pushing with her hand than when she just had her hand on the ground.
Yeah.
Like suddenly, I can feel that. And if this was moved all the way up to weight sharing, then it would become essential that we are feeling that.
So by weight sharing, like we do acro yoga, so I might be on top. I'll probably show you by the end of this video.
All right, so
it's just kind of gentle touches you want to start, but it's like the key here is I'm paying attention to the pressure and matching it. I'm not overpowering it, and he's not overpowering me, and it's not like weak or anything like that. It's how do I pay attention to the balance of power?
all right, so one of us might be pressing in, and by doing that, like asking for like that really like lean in,
So meet
like
me here. Meet me at where
hard pressure, right? And if they overpower, then it's like, okay, it's clear that the other person's not ready for that. The other might desire like a lighter touch. And so if you find that your elbows ever go behind you, then you've gone too far. Right?
Well, I've gone too far because I've pushed you back. So yeah, that would be me now. I've gone too far. But you've gone too far, yeah. And so this is just the warm up for it. But it's like when you actually get into this space, it's actually really cool and connective, and you can kind of play with where you're going.
Because it makes our movement a dance.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that that's a rule about the elbows, because if unless you're in this plane, because I'm about to like bring us out here, and I'm feeling like a little softer pressure on the hands, which means he's backing off a little, which might mean that he wants to take some of the power and move my hands back. Because if you're so much on the pressing forward, you might be missing out on the fact they want to press back and move in your direction. So obviously I'm doing this better when I'm not talking to a camera. And you can move it around.
You can play with pulling too in this way, which sometimes feels really good to just sink back into it. And it's nice to share a visual contact as well, because sometimes that'll come up. Like you start leaning back and then they get the scared look on their face. And so that's an opportunity to check in and be like, okay, maybe that's getting close to too far.
Did not have a scared look on my face, by the way.
So these are things to play with that are good for all these dance and other contact sports.
Yeah, and what's great about it is it gets you physical, because and by that I mean it gets in your body. And when you're too much in your head, if you want to be present with your partner, getting in your body will help. And it's better to do something non-sexual before, because if you just go into your sexual body, something could be missing really there. You could be missing out on an amazing connection. Just get into the body before you get into the sex. The sex is like has a more complex flavor to it. So yeah, so you can bring the elbows or forearms in as well. Now, we started with the hands, but there's ways to do this that are more than the hands. So I'm going to shift that a little bit. And I'm going to bring this back, working with what we got here, just small space.
It's still pretty hard.
Well, I was going to understand.
What are we doing?
Well, okay, so you can do the acro actually. Do the acro first on the ground. This is fun. I've never done it in here before. Watch out for that thing. Oh, that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so for acro, this is something you have to do, like to trust. So
it's awareness, right? Knowing that there's some instability in the platform that I'm on. There are potential obstacles.
Yeah, don't do this in this type of space if you don't know what you're doing, like at all. So yeah.
Right, hips forward.
So now, if you want to do acro, this is cool. Like it's just but take a class on how to connect with your partner. It can be pretty fun.
So interesting.
But it is not an acro class, so I'm not going to teach you acro here. We're not going to teach you acro here. But it's just having that pressure, like what we just taught you, that's all about this. This is just the mechanics and like the strength and whatever else. Really, the bigger thing is, can you communicate with your partner without saying anything? Like that is the nonverbal part of it. Okay. So bring me down. But if you don't want to do things like acro, you can do things that are, come on up, just movement. So we have just kind of like that touching, kind of lean in. And this one I'll bring up because it's a little bit higher. So you can lean in
to
their pressure.
Where this comes in is being aware of the quality of touch that you feel like the other might be requesting.
Yeah.
Right. So right now, it's like I'm requesting that's like, let's have a rolling contact where we pretend that our skin is sticky, but we can roll. So there's no sliding.
Yeah.
But we can roll with it.
And it's so much more fun in the crowd space.
But then
you can still do things. So,
yeah, but then there could also be, let's have like this sensual sliding.
And then back to the palms.
Whether there's space or be aware if like maybe one's desiring that body contact.
And yeah. And you can easily like roll out of these things if you want, but you don't want to lose contact. So this is a literal connection. And one of my metaphors work in a very literal way. So my hair is not a point of contact though. Mm-hmm. So you've seen people do dances like that. That is another way to connect. I'm giving you this like really unusual class. Now imagine if you were in person taking this class and I was teaching you all these things. It would be a lot of fun. So just keep that in mind. If you do end up watching this, you're watching this now, you get to this point, imagine that you end up being able to connect with people with movement, with touch, with playful communication. Oh my God, it's cold. And then if you do come to a class, then I get to actually address what is personally going on in your life. All right, so let's just do a really quick recap, especially for my brain, which needs to like find some order. So breathing. Okay, so you breathe in and out together. And you can start your day that way. We did. Maybe that's why I feel super like yummy close to you right now. Yeah. But if you have stuff to address, then that's what gets to do. You get to clear the air about that. Now, clearing the air about that, that's definitely gonna be another class, okay? I can't do that. I won't do that in this time frame, especially not with people present.
It's an opportunity to have awareness of that.
But it is an opportunity to have awareness of it. Now, being present means also having your cup filled. And so you want to, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. You want to take a moment to breathe and maybe meditate, do your own practice. For some of you, that might mean like yoga, it might mean meditation. Whatever it is, make sure there's conscious breath involved. As I said, meditation for a lot of people is just intention, breath, and posture. And the posture can be a moving posture. Yoga is just a bunch of postures in a row. So it can be a moving meditation as well. So, all right. So we have breathing with your partner or breathing on your own first intentionally. We have bringing the fire up through the body, which is also taught in the previous class in a lot more detail, especially near the end of the class if you want to skip ahead. We have communication that's verbal, right? We talk about that. Yes. And we also get to learn kind and gentle ways of saying, I need a moment for myself. I need to check in with myself. Because sometimes it's just like, maybe you have a most loving partner, but you're just like, I just need a minute. I need a minute. I got my things going on in my head. And you just feel claustrophobic because you need to deal with yourself. It's fine. Don't wait till it gets to the point till you get snappy. Just say, hey, I'm feeling a lot of things right now and I need a moment to process. Can you give me a moment? I'll check in with you and
I would gladly give you that space.
Thank you so much. Great. So men and women can ask that. I know I've been asking a lot of questions, but men and women and them, all of them, theys can also do this too. So you ask consent and all the things, you give people opportunities to say yeses and nos, you do may I will you, and you say thank you after no, you say thank you after yes. You are showing gratitude for that communication. And then you go to the nonverbal, which is like touch and play, a lot of pressure. Like if you were somebody whose language, one of your love languages, go look, what's your love language test. One of your love languages is touch, like especially like this contact, like pressure and keeping the pressure, right? And I don't know what's sexy about like this particular area, but it makes me feel good. Like I feel grounded and connected and open. And so it's going to make me feel trusting. And those make for great orgasms, guys. Trust. Trustgasms. I should have a shirt that says trustgasms. And then after that, go back again to breathing And then let's close this out. Okay, at that point, yeah. Oh, our crazy pants. So at that point, you can come back to breathing. You've already done your consent. You've checked in with yourself. You've done your own meditation. You have asked for consent. You've said, hey, let me check in with myself before coming back together. You chose to come back together just like that, or you decided that you were going to play into it with doing like touch, consensual touch and questions, may I, will you, and like playful movement, whatever it is. Soft stroking. You remember that a lot of people, or their natural tendency is to go into fight, flight, or freeze, where they are going to run away or get anxious. They're going to fight and get combative. Maybe that's why they're snappy, or they're going to freeze and shut down. So you remember to be present with those emotions rather than run away, lean in and be present. And you're going to choose to just feel it and process it, right? And you're going to be acknowledging that your partner or you acknowledge yourself that you're going through it. So if all of that work came to this moment, how to connect with your partner, all the other stuff gets to be acknowledged. Now you're here again. I'm going to touch my forehead to yours and breathe with you.
Yes, please.
Okay. So while I'm here, I'm going to ask if I can gently start just touching you with my hands. Can I trust that you will say slow or pause or whatever it is you want to tell them to, like, it's too fast and need to check in? So you can do that. May I touch you until you say stop or say pause or slow?
Maybe first have a moment of stillness.
See, and that was great. Yes, thank you. And we can breathe in and out together.
Thank you.
And you may have asked for this stillness, but I'm digging it now, so I might want to stay longer. I can say I'm enjoying this stillness a little longer. Okay, we move to touch.
Yes.
Okay. And this is where you can start asking yourself, can I do this slowly? If you want them to speed up, you can tell them, right? But like, why don't you err on the side of slow and see what they like? Do they like tips of your nails, tips of your fingers? Do they like your hand? Do they like squeezes? Do they like patterns?
May I have a firmer, warmer touch?
Okay. And then you can kind of move into what they like. And then I'm starting to do the thing that we did before, where it's like pressure. If he gives me pressure back, I can give him pressure, just like we did with our hands. We're doing it with my forehead.
And the whole time staying connected with oneself.
And he's doing it with
And
his
having
arms now.
awareness. On the quality of our presence.
And he asked for firm, warm touch. So I'm giving him firm, warm pressure as well. And just imagine, what if you started your, whatever it is, your connection with your partner in this really grounded, centered space of yes. You knew, how confident could you feel if you knew this was the touch they wanted rather than guessing and then just kind of fumbling through? And so while I'm doing this, I want to incorporate the breathing, where you can pull up through the base of the spine, through the reproductive organs, and up all the way to the top of your head. I'm going to start cycling through. If you want to get them on board with that, you don't have to, but if they're down, definitely get them on board. And let's breathe together and have that same visual, even as we're moving, we're bringing it up through the spine. Now, if you don't want to speak, a trick I use is to squeeze as I'm breathing in. And then exhale, I start to release the tension. Is there any other tricks you use?
Well, also with the nonverbal communication, maybe I don't feel like saying words and interrupt it. Like if I'm not liking this touch on the neck, I might just gently grab that hand and move it to where I want it. Right. See, like maybe there. Yeah, my neck's sensitive right now. I want you right here.
Okay.
And then if there's like all this movement and stuff, just calm. Just,
It's like, calm your little fingers.
yeah, just be right here, right now. And so it takes a sense of presence and humility just to, yes, okay. Thank you for asking for what you want.
Yeah.
In these subtle ways.
I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel good?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I think that's enough of an intro. If you join a class, guess what? It gets to be personalized. I can pull you through it. A lot of it's pretty simple. It's the implementation where the subtleties are more than anything else. So just join a class, honestly. Do it with yourself. If you just show up and you don't have a partner, that's fine, because I can teach you how to implement this stuff anyways, and it can be an insightful thing for you.
And connecting with yourself is the key component.
Yeah, you have to
That
show up
allows
that
you
way.
to be present.
If you can connect with yourself, you can connect with a partner. You do have some limitations when you are disconnected from yourself. It means you're not actually, you can't fully like connect. Like there's a block there, right? It's like missing a piece, right? Like I'm trying to connect and it's like there's just a piece missing. So make sure you come full and connect. Any last things to say?
Connecting with yourself and remember to play. It's like bring that playful spirit into each moment with yourself, and then you can come into that. And that makes it so that the no's, they're not a rejection, but they're wonderful information to gather, right? That like, oh, that means that there's another path of yeses somewhere else. And so that allows you to follow those yeses.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So this has been the first co-led Temple of Yes class with Mark. So it's very informal. I will post it. So obviously it'll be there and you can watch the part that you want and send me a message or leave me a comment if you have questions. As I said, it's really unstructured. Thanks for playing. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll turn off this.
Ready now?
And we'll turn off this. Yep.